There's Chris. Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for the heads up. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. It is Monday, Thanksgiving week. Hopefully everybody's making preparations to spend time with their family. As you know, that's an important component of your own success in business is our time with our family and our loved ones and making time for each other. Also, it's one of my components. Rod just said it before we hit record, before you all were on, is following the rules in my own book. The freedom to say yes is trying to take advantage of a little bit of that downtime that other businesses have during the holiday season. So if you find yourself with nothing to do or no family obligations, or you've done more family than you can do, then take a few minutes and get yourself ahead in your business. Hopefully you've got a game plan already in play that allows you to do that effectively without putting too much thought and deliberation behind that. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
This is not a mirror, okay? If you didn't see Rachel, she was using the video as a mirror. So glad you're here. Love the blue.
Thanks. I just hadn't looked in the mirror in a while and I thought, oh my.
Good job. Okay. Well, tonight's topic, as I said last week, it's about networking. And I don't see Riley Kuntz here, but I'm sure she'll listen to this later. She always tells me she does when she's not on. She's probably one of our best networkers in the group. And what I mean by that is she is always out networking. She's having coffee with somebody almost every day of the week to further her relationships and what she's doing. So it's not why I picked the topic, but the reason why it's important is that oftentimes our success is centered around what that network looks like. I think a lot of times we get wrapped up in this little bubble of thinking about our network, and we only think about today and now and the people around you right now. You don't think about your network that goes back in time, whether that's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, depending on your age, Rod and I, maybe it's 40 years. Your network is so important to your success, not only in personal, but in business, or not only in business, but in personal. And your ability to maintain a relationship with your network of people. And you will find that if you treat them authentically and real, and you're not just out to get something from everybody. Jocelyn and I had an interesting conversation a couple of weeks ago about some common people that we know that seem to be always out to get something. But if your network relationships involve that value for value exchange, that authentic, I care about you type of relationship, your network will stand the test of time, and you'll be able to reach out as time moves forward to not only enhance your business life, but to have counterparts and people that you can rely on to reach out to build your business with, to run questions or ideas past, or whatever that might look like. So your network is so valuable. And your network doesn't just include your friends in your immediate circle. It also includes, the opportunities around you, like getting involved in local business development, local activities, things that you're involved with, whether those are school activities or business activities or government activities. So your network is really about your relationships personally, in business, in the industry, and where things are going, right? So that's really what the definition of a network is. So what do we do with our network? Where do we start? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is we're all in sales one way or another. And as we expand our businesses, we have to look at where our opportunities are. And oftentimes those opportunities are right in front of us within that network. So I'm going to give you a few reminders of what your network might look like. And then you can go as deep as you need to go within those networks to figure out where the real value is. So the first thing that you can look at is to build your network is attending events. It's interesting. I have a client that I do some private coaching with, very, very successful, but he's plateaued. And my first question is what events are you attending? What groups are you a part of? What does your outreach look like? And he's got none of that, right? And there's nothing wrong with that at this point, but he's wondering why he's plateaued. Well, he's not attending any new events. So attend networking events. Look for industry related events that make sense to you or in the direction that you want to go so that you can expand your network in that arena. It's critically important. So whether that's paying for a conference or a seminar or somewhere where you can meet like-minded professionals. I know there's YPOs around the country that you can join and be a part of. So look at your network activities and things that you can go attend and be a part of to expand that network. If you just joined, I know I just let a few people in. We're talking about networking and expanding your network. So the first way to expand your network is attending network events. The second one is leveraging your social media for your network. I mean, I'd be real curious to know how many of you, when you're on social media, beyond just browsing through that, are you actually interacting with other people in your industry? So if you're a marketer, I'm looking at Rachel because I can't see somebody driving. So Chris, I can't, you're in the black and white there. So if you're in marketing, are you talking to, there you go, buddy, the light is on. So are you reaching out to other marketers? Are you going, hey, what's happening in your world? Are you building a conversation in your industry while you're on social media? Don't just get on and hit all the likes. It's a great opportunity to build relationships with people. And don't just do the canned, hey, thanks for friending me, let's talk type thing. I get that a lot on LinkedIn. Actually ask real questions about their business. Take the time to dive into their business a little bit based on what they're posting on social media. LinkedIn is a great resource to reach out to people. I personally take the Q&A in LinkedIn a little bit more serious than I would on just social media. Maybe that's because there's less bots on LinkedIn, but there's more of an opportunity to reach out to somebody authentically in a real way on LinkedIn. So if you're not on LinkedIn, I would highly recommend it. Jocelyn, if you're not on LinkedIn with your new book, I would jump on there because that might be opening up some doors for you in terms of speaking engagements and book sales. So leverage your social media to expand your network in a real and authentic way. Don't just like everybody's photos and post your own, but use it as a tool to expand your network. The third way is join some professional associations in the industry that you're in. So a lot of you know already that I run some political campaigns. I'm a member of 3 local associations in the political world. So Republican Women, Central Committee Republicans, as well as the Pachyderm Club. Now, I attend their meetings once in a while. I get to know those people in those meetings, and I've built a rapport amongst others in those meetings where they understand what I do in the industry, which is help run campaigns. And that's how I have a current client that's running for governor in the state of Montana, is through my association within these associations. If I didn't attend these events, he would not have known that that's what I do. So I'm asking for you guys to look in your own networks, your own organizations that you can be involved with and reach out. It might be as simple as a chamber of commerce. There's a chamber of commerce in every city, and it's easy to get involved. It's worth the investment. It's worth showing up and expanding your outreach within chambers. All right, number 4, another way to build your network is offer value and nurture relationships. Okay, so going back to the first 3, how can you offer value? How can you nurture those relationships? So you meet somebody at the local Pachyderm Club or the local Chamber of Commerce. How do you reach back to them and offer them some value or nurture a relationship? Like I suggested, Riley Kuntz is great at this. Invite somebody to coffee or offer them something or see if they need help within your network or ask them if they need to expand their business in your own network. There's a lot of ways that you can offer value to people and nurture that relationship. So if you get a business card and a name and a number or an email, use it, build the relationship. That's how you're going to open up more doors. And by the way, they might not be doors that you see the value today. Using a recent example of mine, we've got a local attorney here, literally right down the street from my house, drive by his place every day. I went in there about 1.5 years ago, asked him about his services. I welcomed him to the neighborhood, wound up using him for some planning, some legal planning stuff. And then we got to talking about cattle and beef and raising beef and selling beef and all these things. And over a year's time, we went back and forth about different marketing ideas, which never amounted to much, except for a single introduction to another company that was looking for exactly what I do. And that was consulting in the beef industry as far as marketing and expansion of their business. So last week, I just signed a new client through this relationship that I'd nurtured for the last year that didn't go anywhere. All of a sudden, I now have a new client because of that. And it's not why I was nurturing the relationship. We had some things in common. You never know what comes out of them. And authentically, I was offering him help. But he realized through all that it'd be a great fit for a friend of his and another client, which resulted in another client for me. So you never know what's going to happen in these relationships that you nurture. Do the time, take the effort, be authentic, be real, and genuinely give where you can. And the last point that I'll make on this is collaborate and partner with people. So maybe in your own industry, you're at a plateau. Look for opportunities to collaborate and offer value to somebody else in your industry and partner with them to build out your business. That's one of the ways that Rachel and I grew together in our businesses. There's a lot of collaborations between the two of us in what we do. We were both in the same business, but we had different specialties. And we found ourselves working on a lot of the same clients in different ways and then sharing partners back and forth. Or somebody might come to me with something that I have either no interest or I have no knowledge in doing that I pass along to Rachel and vice versa. So collaboration and partnering with people is a great way to expand your network and build your business. So I think we don't give enough credit to what our network looks like over time, that we don't build it out, that we don't nurture it, that we just take our relationships for granted and we don't do anything with them. So really, I want this to serve as a great reminder on the importance of nurturing your network, building it out, and constantly adding a little bit more to it. And yeah, it takes work to go out and join a club, our committee, our chamber. Yes, it takes work to attend their meetings, bring some business cards, shake some hands, and then do the follow-up. But you will find that this is the best way to 10x your business, no matter what business you're in. You're not going to do it from the comfort of your home every night. Eventually, you have to get out, shake some hands, and meet some people live. The alternative to that, as I already suggested, is you could do it on social media, although it's not as effective as shaking somebody's hand, but you could do it, but you have to do it with intent and just get out of the habit of liking and scrolling, but start to build some relationships. As Rachel likes to say, is she likes to go hunting. You need to go hunting on social media with the intent to build your business in a real and authentic way. Sounds like a conversation I had with Jocelyn before this is she went out hunting and made some outreach with some important influencers with Roma Downey as far as it relates to her book. So go out hunting more often and see what it looks like to grow your business. All right, so that's my topic on networking. Why don't you formulate your questions? Actually, I'm gonna let Rod and Rachel weigh in on this, and then I'm gonna add another topic because that was a little bit brief. There's something else I want to talk about. So Rod, if you want to weigh in, go ahead.
All right. So the first thing that I want to say is I need more work on this. And part of it is my head wasn't in the game. I've been kind of mentally checked out for a little while. And I guess I have to give myself some grace. We've talked about that, but I need to get back in the game. And so this is really a good topic because I was doing a much better job previously. So Jim, thanks for that, especially with the leveraging social media. I know I can do more with that, but there are other things as well. And I just want to say that you never know. You mentioned early on that you nurture these relationships and you don't do it to get something. You just do it because you're being authentic and genuine. And I had just today, literally 2 hours before this call, I got an email from an old college buddy from 40 years ago. I kid you not, 40 years ago, who found me. And he has a group that he formed with a bunch of people that used to be in the same dorm. I lived in the dorms for my first quarter of college. And I had quite a few networking friends on that floor, and all of them are back Midwest, back East, or in Europe right now. And they all got together during COVID, and they kept in touch on Zoom. And so all of a sudden, I have reconnected with an old college person, and I have no idea where this is going to go. But they have a format with their Zoom calls, and it gives them, all of us, an opportunity to catch everyone up. And you just don't know where these networks are going to go. I was not the one who kept in touch with all these people. I literally, at that point in my life, I just went and did my own thing and moved on. And that was a mistake. So those of you who are at least a little bit younger than I am, start keeping track of those people. Just reach out, even if it's that once a year Christmas card, to say, hey, just was thinking about you. Wanted to check in. Keep those relationships alive. And again, it's our responsibility to do that. If we rely on others, it may take 40 years for it to come around. Don't wait that long. Okay. Definitely don't wait that long. And before I turn this over, I see you've got a hand raised there as well. Jocelyn, I saw this face, this emoji in the chat when Jim mentioned speaking, and you said laugh out loud, speaking. Jim and I had this conversation earlier. Maybe it was a week ago or before one of our calls. The person who holds the microphone makes the most money. That's what you need to just put in the back of your head. The person holding the mic makes the money. The person who has the pen in their hand at a seminar is the one making the money. If you're already reaching out for those relationships to promote your book, you're already speaking. You're speaking one-on-one, and speaking to a room is really speaking one-on-one, but you're speaking to an audience. Okay, so it's a mental thing. If we have to have a little class on basics of public speaking to get some of you guys over that hurdle, Jim and I would be happy to do that also. So Jocelyn, yes, speaking. Anyway, the networking stuff, it's a great topic, Jim, and it will reap rewards. And the last thing I'm going to say here is swing for the fences. If you want to reach out to somebody for whatever reason, it's okay to just shoot off an email or send snail mail and do some follow-up with people. If they're in your niche, you have every right, and they have every expectancy for people to reach out and discuss current topics with them in that niche. So don't be afraid to just go and make a random cold call to somebody and just see where it goes. You may be surprised. I guarantee you will be rewarded for it. So I'll turn it over to Jim. You're in charge. So whoever you want to get on there next.
Thanks,
I'll mute.
Hey, Chris, why don't you go ahead and unmute? And while he's doing that, you just reminded me, Rod, I've got a client that buys wine from us. He runs the Coronado Hotel down in San Diego. It's really a nice bougie hotel, and great guy. I've had a relationship with him for 10 years. And I knew that I'd be talking to this new client, it's called Range, RANGE Wagyu. So new client of mine helping Range Wagyu move some beef. Anyways, I saw this email come through about a month ago from Eric down there at the Coronado. I thought, I'm going to put this email aside. I'm going to take care of what he needs, but I'm going to put it aside because if I sign this deal with Range Wagyu, he might be interested in buying Wagyu beef for the hotel. So I signed the deal the other day. I reached out to Eric. I said, hey, by the way, I'm working with a new client if you're interested. And he wrote me right back. He said, yeah, Jim, I am interested. Give me more details. Give me a couple weeks as I add my new chef. And here's the thing about this. That is an authentic, real value for value opportunity for both of us. I'm going to be able to give him something, that's going to bring value to his menu. And he's bringing me some business for my client, right? And that's how you build these relationships and your network, is by thinking of the value for value. It's not what can I get out of this guy? What can I do for him that will bring value to him? So Chris, go ahead with your question, bud.
Yeah, well, a couple things on networking. So when you talk about old acquaintances or friends and network, my logo design, my new t-shirt design, I went to an old friend of mine who does a bunch of horror artwork and whatnot. And I said, hey, you're the perfect guy to do all of that for me. In the process, he does some 3D printing stuff, so that helps on the other end. He got my logos done. I gave him business at time when he needs it. Normally, I've got a degree in graphic design. I could sit down and hash all that out, but I'm trying to learn to outsource things and not do everything myself. And then on the new networking front, about a year ago, I had gone to a coin show and met a gentleman who does casting like me. And well, he opened up a brand new store up in Chatsworth, and I went to a short store and talked to him. And he goes, "Yeah, bring in some of your stuff." And I brought him some pieces. He bought some. And today he ordered 30 more of one piece and 10 more of another piece a couple days ago. So I got to get to work this holiday. I'll be working.
I love it.
So the networking and the outside, that was social media and in person, right? Most of my watch stuff, most of my business with dealers, jewelers, and everything else was all social media found. It can be done mostly social media. And when you get the opportunity to meet them in person, you do. But some people are on the East Coast, some people are up, just out of the way, and your paths never cross physically. But you can talk to them all the time. You can outsource, depending on what your business is. If you're in the gun industry, you just network within Facebook and Instagram groups. And, I talk to big watch dealers all the time that I've never done business with. And you'll find that in most of these communities, it's not like the old days where everybody had their lips closed and tight. They will give you the information you ask for. Now more than ever, people share almost everything that they do. There's very few trade secrets anymore. And it's just because people have seen that the more they share, the more they get out of it, I think.
I love that share, Chris. Thank you. And what I really like about what he said is he outsourced to somebody in his network to get the job done. So he realized that he can get more done by outsourcing, and then expanded his network, right? And brought value to them, and look what happened in exchange from somebody else. So it all works. Rachel, what are your thoughts on networking?
I'm so glad that it's my turn to talk because I got a lot of thoughts.
Good.
First of all, for all my friends out there who already bought the book, chapter 6, where we talk about what are your superpowers. The very first sub bullet in this chapter is the Pontifex. Now, for those of you who don't know, Pontifex is an old word that means, it's a Latin word that means bridge builder. And when I was working in corporate America, that's what they would call me sometimes, because I would see different people and different skill sets and different opportunities and put them together. And it wasn't always for like my own personal benefit. It was for the benefit of the client or the benefit of the agency or the benefit of the work, right? But as I've gotten into running my own business, I still like to think of myself that way. And it's always in the spirit of giving that I'm connecting people together. So that being said, there's another part in this same chapter, at the end of this chapter, that I want to mention, because you all know people like this. It's page 57, where everybody in your network fits into one of 4 categories. And the 4 categories, I'll read them for those who are listening. I can't see it. It's either a cheerleader who's giving you encouragement and support. An expert is someone who's providing, insights for you. A leader who's maybe like a mentor or inspirer, or the 4th, which is what we're talking about tonight. It's the networking person. It's the connector. The connector is the person who can always make the introduction. And it's really important to stay in that spirit of giving when you're making those introductions. So I think networking is very, very important. Now, those genuine relationships in the spirit of giving, those work friends turn into genuine friends, turn into real friends. I'd say the majority of my real friends are also my work people. So, you'll find that to be the case more and more. And in that spirit of giving, the thoughtfulness comes through. So whether it's sending it like a thank you gift or a thoughtful gift or a Christmas gift. And someone brought up, I forget who it was, someone brought up your Christmas card. Your Christmas card, by the way, that's an important part of your brand. It's your family brand. And your family brand is a reflection of your work brand, and it's all connected. So I'll share what works for me in case this inspires anyone. I have a photographer that's our family photographer who comes and takes our pictures like every October, November. Not only does it give me a nice annual picture of the kids because I feel like their school pictures are always a little wonky. But it also gives me great content so I can have that memorabilia for them, but also it is our Christmas card photos every year, because I know that that's going to be a reflection of my brand, the family brand, the business brand. So, none of this happens on accident. A lot of time and thought goes into that. And then I was wanting to share with you guys, I was in Las Vegas recently at the David Meltzer filming for the season 5 of Office Hours on Apple TV. And I'm in this green room with all these different amazing, successful people. And they all had this spirit of giving. It was like, oh, here's a free copy of my book. Oh, hey, can I do this for you? Hey, how can I help you? And I loved being in the room of people who all totally got it. Not one of them was like, hey, what can you do for me? It was all like, how can I help you? And they really genuinely wanted to know who you were and how they could support you and your dreams and your business. And I think that goes back to what I said last week about it's not just what you do, it's why you do it. And so they really were a great group example. And I think this group is a great example of that too, because yes, we want to talk about business. Yes, we want to give advice. Yes, we want to help you, avoid the dummy tax and those sorts of things, but also we genuinely care. And anytime it's something comes up, in that spirit of giving, that's why we're all here to help you guys and to help each other. So I love this topic. Networking is so important and great topic tonight.
Yeah, we'll thank Rod for the topic. He built the schedule out, but we'll just expand on it. And the thing is, we're going into the holidays. You're going to be out more. You're going to see more people. There's going to be more parties, more events to attend. And as Rachel and Rod both suggested, do it in the, your introductions and meeting people, do it in the spirit of giving. And, you need to turn that into a habit. And eventually, we know in the back of our mind, it'd be nice to have more business, but, tell people your why you do what you do. The business will come later and you'll be grateful for it. You'll be a lot more grateful for it because it came organically based on who you are and how you approach people. Not that you became, and it's funny, sorry, Rod, the sleazy car salesperson. You can be that authentic, real kind person that offered something up front first, and then the business came later. So, Rod, you have another comment?
Yeah, one thing that just occurred to me when we're talking about networking, and I don't know if anyone on this call tonight, but I'm sure somebody listening, and I kind of alluded to it with Jocelyn with public speaking, but I always referred to myself and thought of myself as an introvert. I was the person who liked to just hang back and not get out there and go meet people. I could sit back, read a room for a little bit, and then figure out where I wanted to, navigate within that thing. And this goes all the way back. I've been to, the governor of Hawaii's house for dinner. I mean, I've gone to different events, but I never felt like I wanted to just be the one charging forward. And what I finally discovered was that I can be an introvert, but I coined this term myself, a situational extrovert. Okay. So my personality type is I'm the hang back, watch, not jump right out there and be the social person. But when the occasion arises, I make myself do it. I put myself out there and get the job done. And so that way I can still feel like, okay, I'm comfortable with myself and who I am. I'm not that, in your face, person that gets out there and does it. But by golly, I will go that next step in my uncomfort zone to get the job done. And if you need to recoin yourself, rebrand yourself, then do it, because we all have it within us. We're social creatures by nature, and we need to just get more comfortable being uncomfortable and putting ourselves in those situations. We're not going to build our network with the comfort of, standing back here. This doesn't turn an introvert into an extrovert. Okay. It's a way to share, but it's that face-to-face where we make ourselves vulnerable. And it just takes more practice. So, I spent years, being back, and then I made a very, very good living being a situational extrovert. and get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's part of this networking conversation. I didn't want to let that pass. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And if you're not really sure how to get out of your comfort zone, on the 22nd, my podcast with Rod comes out. I just put the link in the window. It won't launch till the 22nd, but it's titled Speak Like Churchill. And we go over a few ways that will be helpful in getting you out of your comfort zone to speak more often. And sometimes that's just as simple as introducing somebody or volunteering to, say the prayer around Thanksgiving dinner or something like that, way out of your comfort zone, but you're around family and friends. Maybe you take on that task this year, or, tell everybody at Thanksgiving what you're thankful for, or there's a lot of ways that you can get out of your comfort zone. So check out that podcast. It'll allow you to get some ideas on how you can start to network better and be more comfortable doing those things. So, okay, I'm happy to take more questions on networking, but I want to shift gears for a minute, and hopefully Rod will weigh in heavily on this, because we just spoke about this, and that is our next podcast is a friendly reminder about building your foundational elements in your business. And the topic came from just a recollection of a client that I had that got ahead of themselves on production when they needed to be focused on aligning their production with their sales and marketing. And so what happened was they got way down the road on production. They had a ton of inventory. They got way down the road on their sales in the streets team. But what they weren't doing is building up their social media and website development presence, and got way behind the gun. So when production said, hey, I've got all this product, how's the social media look? Are you guys promoting what we're doing? And they're like, no, we haven't done any social media. And all of a sudden you're chasing your tail, right? And so this all goes back to those founding elements of building a business plan, building a marketing calendar, building out a budget, building out a sales forecast, and then tying your programming in with all those elements, so that when you get down the road, your programming is matching your marketing team, your production together, your sales team, your budget, and your sales forecast. So, Rod, you want to expand on that a little bit? Because I'm operating with a sore throat here, and I know you know the topic intimately as well.
Well, the biggest thing that we discussed was planning and reviewing the plan. Because if you're out of step or out of balance, right, you know, a business isn't just, a storefront and an open sign and an 8 to 5, right? No matter what your business is, you have to have all those components working symbiotically. And you can't have isolated silos of, like the finance department can't be isolated from the sales department, that can't be isolated from the manufacturing department. Everything has to be synchronized. And if one of those elements is out of sync, you're going to have stress and missed opportunities. It's gonna, and missed opportunities usually gonna hit you on the financial end of things. So really, when you're doing the planning, and if now's the time to start reviewing your plan. That's the other thing. If you've started your business plan and you've already done it, if you're in year 1 or 2 or 3, it doesn't even matter. It's time to pull it out and review it. Maybe that's how you get ahead during the holiday season. Maybe it's not doing extra, compared to your competitors. Maybe it's you doing the extra work on your own business right now. As you go into the holiday season, you get a little downtime. Pull that business plan back out. Do a good, thorough review of all of the components of that plan. And start there, because I'm telling you, you will find gold in those opportunities where you say, gosh, I could have done this better. It's time to do a little shift. It's time to bring someone else in on this. Like Chris was saying, it's time to bring in an outside source to get this project done. Yeah, we can do it ourselves, but there's a time that outsourcing makes more sense. That changes the plan. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tie this into the holiday season here, Jim. I think everyone listening to this call, whether it's today, whether it's down the road, 5 years down the road, the way everything lives forever on the internet, it's time to review your plan and get the synchronicity of your business functioning. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, and that's part of the reason that I wanted to bring it back up, because in the podcast we discuss it. We're heading into the end of the year. What you're doing today, you're going to see the results from in 90 days. Like Rachel said on the call last week or the week before, you should be planning for your January right now. And most often people will develop their goals and their forecast for the following year in November and December, maybe sometimes as early as October. Well, this is where you pull that business plan out. You look at what's missing, what's not missing. You look at your programming. And if you don't have any programming, build out a programming calendar. We've put those assets on the back end of the Entrepreneur Syndicate before. Rachel did a fabulous job last year with the programming calendar. That's easy to follow, but that's where you align your marketing with your sales, with your production, and make sure that you're in sync throughout the year. There's no question what each department should be doing when you've got a programming calendar. So in other words, when you're going into July and you've got 4th of July celebrations happening around the country, including your own backyard, have you ramped up your sales team? If you're in alcohol, have you built up your sales team and what the 4th of July drink special is going to be and how you're going to market that? And, are you going to give away American flags or whatever that looks like for you? You have a lot of advanced notice to build out some programming around your business. So if that's the time of year that you're looking at right now, look at what's going to happen next year and how you plan for it and program it. So get back to the basics and jump in. Rachel, you want to weigh in on that at all?
I just wanted to unmute. The other thing about planning ahead for not just like your holiday gifts, and not just your new client, but think about your pipeline. How long does it take you to close a new client? Do you have like a 3-week average close, or is it a 6-month average close? Does it take you a year to close a new client? So start thinking about that as part of your business plan. Also, I like for marketing, I like to look at it, whereas and I could put this on the back end of like a template. Actually, I'll do that because I look at how many clients am I serving every year and what services are they buying every year. And I am very conservative because I don't like to have too many of my clients like all doing the same thing, because marketing is changing so rapidly. And a couple of years ago, there was I had no clients doing social media. Then there was this huge shift where I had all my clients doing social media. And it was like, wait a minute, I'm not totally comfortable with that. So now I try to make sure that the pie is more evenly distributed. And also now's the time to start telling your clients that you're raising your rates for next year. We've all seen inflation. We're all paying more for our goods and services. Our employees all want to get paid more. And as a business owner, it's our job to pay them more. We want to, help their dreams come true, right? So it's standard to tell your clients, and I say tell because I'm thinking of the assumptive close. You're not asking permission. You're letting them know, listen, we're raising our rates next year. It's across the board. It's not personal. Cost of living increase. Wanted to let you know in advance. 5% is pretty standard. If you need to renegotiate something bigger than that, we can always strategize and talk offline about it. But I would start planting those seeds now and try to look at the year ahead and what services you want to be offering more of and what are your margins on the services that you've been providing the most. So when we were doing a lot of social media, I realized that actually had terrible margins for us. It takes a lot of time, and we can't charge that much for it. Whereas if we're building a website, sometimes those margins are better. So that also was a strategic choice as we're talking to clients, because you're selling services to them in the year ahead, right? They ask for your advice and you can kind of steer them down a path of what they need. But also you might say, oh, you know what? Let me refer you to my friend who actually does this a little bit better than us or is set up to handle it better. And then maybe you have referral agreements set up with your partners, which is also pretty standard. I think most companies, it's pretty normal to have a 10% referral kickback fee. So make sure you're raising your voice and raising your hand and having that conversation about referrals. That should be a standard practice. I remember one time I got burned with that. It was like, I don't know, 20 years ago, and I didn't think to ask. And I totally should have. And later some woman pulled me aside and she was like, you could have made a lot of money on this deal. And I was like, I could have, but I didn't have a good mentor who taught me that that was something that I didn't know what I didn't know. So I'm mentioning it to you guys now, so you will know.
Thanks, Rachel. The biggest thing that she just brought up that is, part of this process is looking at next year and pricing. I have a client that was underpricing his services to his customers, and I did some local research to find out that he was way undercharging. And with a price increase that I've already recommended to him starting January 1, will result in an extra $4,000 a month. So when you look at that from a yearly basis, it's a massive increase for his business. That's only netting out, somewhere around 20 grand profit a month. So another $4,000 is huge for him. And all it took was a little local research, somebody outside their bubble to identify their business strengths and weaknesses and make some common sense adjustments to their bottom line numbers and what they're charging their customers. So again, this is a good time. Use this as a reminder, not only for two things: expand your network, work your network, grow your network, be authentic, give first, bring value, and then go back to basics with your business. Take a look at your foundational elements, what your programming looks like, and how you can utilize all your tools, including the networking, to grow your business network. Now's the time to do that. And when I talk about in my book about, working during the holidays, if you have time outside of, you've already given enough to your family, I do not want you to sacrifice your family time. But if you have an opportunity and you find yourself wanting to do some work and get ahead, that's a good time, as Rachel just suggests, is review what you have, your pricing, your opportunities. Spend time on your computer and make your business foundation a little bit more solid than it was before. You won't regret doing that. And by the way, because businesses are books are a little bit of a topic right now between Rachel's book launch recently and Jocelyn's. Your book should be treated like a business with a marketing plan. Even if that's a business within your business, you need to build out a marketing strategy around that. I've been terrible about it, by the way. So I'm calling myself out. Your business, your book is a revenue opportunity. Jocelyn, I know that there's a lot of goodwill behind your book and a message there, but it still is a revenue opportunity, because with that revenue, you can grow your ability to get the word out there further so that you can maybe give more books out or grow your message to a larger audience. So you have to look at this as an opportunity to grow your book. And so I'm going to take a second look at how I've marketed my book, or how I have not marketed my book, and build out a separate plan around that, so that there's regular touch points about your book and how it's a tool, whether you're selling it or giving it away. Make sure you have a plan with that. You won't regret that. Sometimes I'll go through these waves. All of a sudden I'll push out a whole bunch of books. Like, wow, what was that all about? Oh yeah, I posted something up, or, oh yeah, I met some new people and they wanted a copy of it. Well, they don't know about it until I push it out there. And that needs to be intentionally and with a plan. So there you go. All right. Well, if anybody's got any questions, now is the time to raise your hands. I'm gonna let this call go early.
All right, my last thing, and just to hit it over the head one more time.
Yeah.
This is holiday week. Holiday week is the best time to do extra work for your business. This is when everybody else slows down and when you speed up and you jump ahead. It's like a race. And, it's on Thursday. So most people are going to be sitting back on their heels on Friday. I'm working on Friday. Like, keep that in mind. I mean, make the excuses or the apologies in advance to your family if you need to. But the end of the year is coming. So now's the time.
Okay. Words of wisdom from Rachel. Rod, any closing thoughts?
I think Rachel just took the words out of my mouth. I'm gearing up. I'm feeling the momentum, and how you end the year is how you're going to go into next year. Keep that in mind with mindset. How you go into this is how you're going to come out of it in January. And if you go in slow, dragging, being run down by the holidays and burned out, that's how your year's going to start. So let's turn things around. Let's let this be the shift right here. Just turn on the burners for a little while. You can coast, turn on the burners. You know, it's that marathon. Run in the downhill stretches. All right. Use what you've got.
Love it. And to support all that, if you are stuck trying to figure out what to do between now and the end of the year, you have access to all three of us. So hit us up. You know how to do that. If you don't, reach out to us on the back end of the Young Entrepreneur Syndicate in the community and get a hold of us. All right, everybody. Thank you. Sorry, I've got a sore throat, so I'm going to end this a little bit earlier. Reach out if you need help. We're here for you. Have a great night.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving all.